Hi everyone, today we're going to have a look at 21 of my favourite hacks in PowerPoint. PowerPoint is not just a presentation tool, it has a lot of different features. Today I'm going to share with you all of these wonderful tricks and tips. Let's get to it. Okay, so if you want to follow along, there is the file in the description below, so feel free to download it and follow along. So the first thing we'll have a look at is stock images and icons. So if we scroll along the top bar, go across to insert, and on insert we have a lot of different options here. So if you go to pictures, you have stock images over here. Now let's click onto that. You have a whole host of options here. So images, icons, people, stickers, videos, illustrations and cartoons. So if we have a look, we can scroll down, we can even type in things like abstract, for example. So you have a whole host of options that come up here. You can also go to icons. This is a feature that I really like. So if you just click onto icon, if we're looking for something for e-commerce, shops, money, you have a whole different range here as well. This is one of my favorite ones here. So if we just delete that, you have cut out people. So you can use that for different parts of your activations as well. So let's add one of these. You just insert and that comes directly into your presentation. And if you want to go along, you can also look at things like videos. So if you want to add videos, you have those as well. And you can simply just click onto it and see the activation. And there are some other things like illustrations. So this is something new, and you have the option of cartoon people. So this is another one that you could just click on and add in, resize to whatever you want to have a look at. The second one we have is a remove background. So you don't need to go to any fancy editing tool. You can remove backgrounds right here in PowerPoint. So here we have an image. We want to remove the background here. So simply just double click on it and it automatically opens the picture format. When we open the picture format, if that doesn't come up, you can click on it and then you would scroll over to picture format. Then you go to remove background, and what it does, it automatically detects what it needs to be removed. Now you can notice that there are some areas here that we might want to keep, and there are some areas here that we want to remove. So let's remove mark areas to remove. So click on there and you have your little pencil icon. You click from there to there. So that's going to now remove all of that. Now, if you look in the beak here, we want to add back a little part of the beak. So we do mark areas to keep. Now, once again, you have the pencil icon. So we just scroll onto that a bit and let's see. So that looks nice. Press OK. And we have that. Now you can notice under the paw here, you might want to clean it up a little bit more. So you can go back to the same image and click it from here to here. And there you go. That's a much cleaner option. But if you notice, some of the paw is null. So we just need to scroll and keep a little bit of the area. Keep the changes, and now we have a nice clean image over here. The third one is animation. Now you might have an image, an icon, a picture, anything on your sheet, and you might want it to animate across. So what we can do is highlight the element and go across on the tab to animations, and you have a number of different options here. So you can do things like split, and it shows you how that works, wipe, random bars, and you have a number of options here. So you can have emphasis, you can practice those, but you have things like motion paths. So if you want to do a custom path, you can have a way of scrolling and using that, but let's try the arc over here. And what that does is does a small arc there for you. Now this is the path that it goes to, but if you want it to perhaps do something a bit bigger, all you do is click on that and make it slightly larger, so we can have this element and then go from here all the way to here. Now let's press preview and see what happens. There we go. So that's a beautiful animation that you could use for any of your elements in your PowerPoint. The fourth one that we have over here is duplicating elements. So if you have any element, an image, a text box, you can duplicate them very easily with a simple shortcut. So we can onto the image here and you can click onto the text, but if you press Control you can click on both of them, and when you click on both of them keep holding the Control button and just simply move it across and it duplicates it. Now you have the lines that can align the text and the image so it's at the same kind of level. There you go. Now what you can also do is you can highlight and select all of them so you can see the outers here, press Control, and now once again you can push them across, and once again if we do that again, now we have that. There we go. Okay, the fifth one is going to be grouping and aligning elements. So now we have a shape and we have some text below it which are different. They're not together. So this could be moved left and this could be moved independently. What we want to do is make sure that when the icon moves, the text below it also moves. So what we do, just group it together. Now we highlight both the text and the image, and you can change the positioning if you want. You could go across to arrange and go to group. Now what happens is it groups it as one and you can move it independently. Oh, sorry, together. Now if you want to duplicate this, you do the same thing, press Control and move it across, and now we want to move a few more, so we just can do it that way as well. Now once you've done that, you want to make sure that the elements are all evenly aligned. Now instead of moving each element one by one, which can be done if you have maybe one, you want to do it that way, but when you have a number of different elements, you want to align it horizontally and you want to align it together. All you need to do is select all of the elements. Once it's highlighted, once again we go to arrange. So the first thing is you go to align, and let's do align bottom, so that aligns it a bit lower, and now you can see that the spacing between each of them is also not great, so we want to align it horizontally. Go down here, go to distribute horizontally. There you go. So you have now all the elements aligned and without going one by one. If you want to take it a step further, so you want all of these elements to move all the time together, once again you can highlight all of these, so just click and highlight and you can group them. So now you have an element that can move all together. If you want to ungroup it for whatever reason, you can simply just go to each element, and you can also ungroup each element, so you can have the text separate and the box separate. Okay, the sixth one, which is one of my favorite ones, is the morph transition. Now what this does is you need to do it over 2 slides, and it takes one element and it transforms it into another element, which needs to be the same for the simple version of the morph transition. So here we have a smaller circle, and then we have a larger one with a different color, and what we want to do is when we present, we want this to move into this. Now we have both the elements on the first slide. First thing we do is go across to the slide here, and we right click, we duplicate the slide. So what we want to do is in the first slide of the morph, we want only the first element, and in the second one we want only the second element. Now highlight both of the slides, press shift, both of the slides, go across to transitions, and the second one along is morph. So it does tell you to duplicate the sides, move things around and apply the morph, which is what we've done. Now once again, if we go here, you see the little star, it shows it has an effect on the slide. Press the presenter mode and let's move forward, and we see this transform. There we go. So that's just a simple morph transition. Okay, so now for the, let's say, more advanced version of the morphing transition. So this is when you have 2 different types of shapes or images and you want to transfer it from one to another. So we are going to transfer this bird into this bird. Once again, you start your slide off with exactly the same images that you want to use. You to go over, you right click, duplicate the slide. On the first image, we're going to keep the first image on the first slide. Let's remove the text box, and on the second slide we're going to keep the second image. Now the first slide and the second slide, because they're not the same image, it has it won't recognize it. So what we need to do is click on the image, go across to home and go all the way to select. Once you go to select, you go to selection pane. Now what this shows you is picture 2. This is the name of this image. Whatever you want to call it, the most important thing is you just delete that and put 2 exclamation marks, which are going to be the reference points. So here we can write bird, let's say image, and we can highlight this, Control C to copy. We go down to the next one, click once again on the image and remove the name of the image as it says here, and once again just paste, Control V. Now the references with the exclamation marks, it's showing that they are the same. Once again we go over to the first slide, go across to transitions, go to morph, and let's see how that works. So click on that, let's move forward, and the bird goes across. Okay, let's just go and try that again. Press morph, click, and there you go. The bird moves from the previous one to this one. Next we have the drawing tool. This is quite a cool feature. So from the ribbon, go across to draw. Now various different options here to draw, but I like this one here. Let's select the Pen Galaxy. You can change the thickness if you want to, or the fonts, colors, etc. So once we've got onto that, we want to draw a star. So let's just do a simple star that we've decided to draw. Now, okay, terrible star. Go across here, click onto the lasso tool. Now start at the edge. Now go all the way around your image. Now what we need to do is you can have various different options here, ink to text, ink to shape. So this is what we're going to do, and it's converting it into a beautiful, properly formed shape. The next one we're going to use is, let's use the pencil. Once again, you can change the different fonts, different colouring pencils, etc. So we're going to do a math sum. Let's do 2 plus 1 equals, once again highlight the lasso tool here and you highlight the full sum, ink to math. Let's click on that, let's see what it comes up with. Brilliant. So you can see that it's super nice feature. You can also use it for things like text. So if we just put a T here, for example, let's see how that works. Highlight with the lasso tool, detects it, ink to text, and sometimes the feature doesn't work, but if you just keep trying, it will come up with an option. On to number 8, shape intersect. So there are various different features and functions that you can use for this. Now we have 3 simple shapes here, rectangle, a circle and a triangle. Now what we need to do is we'll look at a couple of things. So the first thing is, let's try to bring the circle on top of the 2 shapes here. So we click onto the circle, we go to arrange, and you can bring to front. There you go, and that comes across right to the front. Similarly, if you want to have this above or below, you can change that. Now highlight all of the elements here. Once they're all selected, we go across to shape format. Now, very interesting feature here where you have merge shapes, and what you can do is you could union them to have them together, combine them so you have alternate feature like that, fragment them so that you can split them across. Intersect doesn't really work here because we don't have an image right now. You can subtract it as well. So what we're going to do here is fragment them, and here we're going to click onto each feature, and now each of the elements can be moved separately. So this feature could also be used with something like morph, so you could have the elements stuck together and you can move them across to however you want to. So let's just go back and try another feature. Okay, let's go to merge shapes, and now you can go to subtract or combine. So this is another feature that you could move across. You have them all the same shapes, change the way that they look, change the colors and the formats. Okay, let's talk about images and shapes. So you might want to have an image that's placed inside a certain shape. So we go across to insert, and here we go to shapes. Once we select a shape, so we could select a circle, pentagon, whatever you want. Let's try pentagon here. Let's go. So now we have a pentagon, completely blue as the default. So we can change the text inside here if we want to, but what we need to do is go across to the shape font. So click onto there. Now you have different options here. You can have gradients. You could even have textures that change, but we are looking at the picture. Let's go across and select a stock image, and we will select this flower over here and press insert, and there you have it. So you have the image right inside a shape. You could also go along to the picture format and have a look at the different types of features that the image could have. So for example, artistic effects, you could do something like, if you want to pixelate it, if you want to have the transparency higher or lower, that could also go. Reset it, compress it, you could change the color if you want a different saturation. So there are a lot of different options that you could choose. You could also have a dropper here. So for example, if you don't want something too small, you could have something a bit thicker and choose various different options here as well. So you could even have a sketched line, anything that you want. One of my most favorite features in PowerPoint is the eyedropper, where it can match exactly the color that you want for your text. Now perhaps we want to use the PowerPoint color to match my color on this text over here. Now we can't select this, so how we need to bring this into the slide is we use a shortcut, Windows button, Shift and S. That brings up the snipping tool. So you then can highlight this. You can use this across other slides. You could use this also on the internet. Now this brings in a reference point for the color match. So we highlight that here. Now instead of playing around with the different colors, what we do is we go to the eyedropper, and where do we want to drop it? We want to drop it right here. So once you've dropped it, you'll see that the color is the exact match of what you want. Now PowerPoint takes out the thinking and creative effort. If you really don't want to know how to do the design, it's simply there put in for you. You come across to the slide with your data, and you go from the home, you go across to the designer, and it's kind of an AI of how to make a design slide. So just click onto that, generate some designs that are specific to that slide, and if you scroll down you can just go through the different options of how it actually looks, and because you have a number there, it also detects the numbers that you have, and you can check what slide designs actually look very nice for you. So you can select, and if you don't like anything, if you go through step 1, step 2, if you don't like it, you can actually go to see more designs, and this lets you go through a little bit more with a few more colors and things like that. So it takes out the effort from the creative design. Now you might want to just convert some of your titles over here into some smart art rather than a designer. So what we do, just highlight the text that you want, go to home, go across to the paragraph section here, and you have a little icon here, convert to smart art to graphic. Click onto that, and you have a number of different options of how your text can look, and you can just select it pretty simply by having to go through all of these designs. So there we go. This is what we can do as well in PowerPoint. Okay, let's move on to text with an image. So we will have an overlay of the text across an image. The first thing that we do is we want to insert a text box, go across to insert a text box, just type that in, and let's type in flowers. Now we need to make this big enough so the image can show properly, and we need to use a thicker, bolder font that would make it look pretty nice. So you can scroll through a lot of the different fonts that you have here. Arial Black, Poppins Black is pretty interesting. Let's increase the size here. So if we go to something like 96, we can make it bigger. We could even do it slightly bigger. So let's type in 145 and we can arrange it here. Now, what we're going to do is overlay an image on this. Now you can use any image. Let's go across to Insert, go to Pictures. We will go for a stock image and we can then type in on the images flowers. Let's select a nice image of flowers over here, and let's go for this one. Has a nice bit of variety in the color. Press Insert. Now you'll have an image on top of the text. What we could do is just make it a little bit smaller. We don't want to. We could make it a little bit wider if you want. Now you have the image underneath. You want to bring the text to the front. So we just simply go send backward and the flowers now go on top. Now we select both of these, so the flowers and the image. Now you see we've only selected one. You can press Control and highlight that. We go across to Shape Format and we're going to do Merge Cells. Now we're going to use the Intersect. Okay, so if you do a union, you see it go away. If you do combine, you could also see fragment is also something that could be used, but in this case we're going to use intersect and then you have that. Now just a couple of tips here. If you do find any issue in having the image, you can just play around with the arrange. So you need to make sure that the text is at the front and the image is at the back, otherwise it will appear as a black text. So let's start to add a chart using an Excel table right here in PowerPoint. So we go across to Insert and then we go to Chart. Let's select this chart right here, clustered column. You could select different types of charts if you want. We can just do, let's go for this one, chart title, press OK. Now you have a number of different datas here that are linked to all the data here. So you could just simply open up your chart here. Let's say we have laptops here, mobiles. Let's go for tech gadgets, and then we can go for printers. So these are the sales of the items that we're looking for. Now series 1 could be country A, for example. Let's type in London, let's type in Dubai, and let's go for New York. So you could change your data here. You could even increase your data if you want to. This is highlighted as a chart. So if you bring it across one more, we can then change it to whatever you want to have. And that's also fine. So let's just close it right here and we can have a look. You can change the title here. You could make it smaller, larger, change the type. If you want to change the font, you could also change it across here or a different style. You could just go through that. Another feature that could be useful is inserting a map directly here. So if you want to show some sales that are in different parts of the country or different countries, we just once again go to Insert, go to Chart, and this time we're going to add a map. So the map is directly here, press OK, and now we have a map come up here, and once again we need to select the data. So once the map is loaded, you just go across. If it doesn't automatically come up, you go to the chart design, you go to edit data or select data. Let's do edit data, and it opens up a list. We can make the Excel a little bit bigger, and if you just look here, we can change, for example, United States to, let's make it 40 just to see the color difference, and it should come up a bit darker. And there you go, that shows you the darkest chart there. So change the countries, change the titles as you want. Let's just call this sales. We close it along there, sales. You can change then the colors, the formats as you want. can change the style. If we go across to color, you can change it into the different colors as well. Now, in PowerPoint, there are a lot of add-ins. So one of the ones we look at is the QR code generation. So we go across to Insert and we go to Add-ins, type in QR, search for that. So there we go, QR4 is the one that I personally use, has a lot more reviews, and it's also used in Excel. It's always been reliable for me. I prefer to use this. Press Add, now continue. Here we go, we have it directly here. Now you can type in any URL that you want, so let's type in Google. You could also change how the look is, so if you want to change it to red or you want to change it to blue, you could insert that directly here, so when anyone's in your presentation they can just click onto that and go directly to the URL that you want. Okay, we'll have a look at how to add a video link. So you might want to embed a video right here in PowerPoint, and you might not have the video with you, might be on a cloud, might be on a server, might be on YouTube. Now you go across to Insert and you go all the way to video. So you have a few options here. You can have a video on your device, stock videos. We're going to go for the option online videos. Now once it loads, you need to copy the link from YouTube, embed it right here, press Insert, you can wait for that. Now there we go, and this is a video that you could just add simply over here, and you can make it larger, you can make it smaller, and you can just play it directly from here. There you go. Very easy way to embed videos. While you're presenting, you might want to highlight certain text or some areas as you're talking. So let's go into presenter mode by pressing either F5 or using the icon down here. So press F1 to see the full list of options. It gives you a lot of options here. You could rehearse, R for rehearse, media, so a lot of options here. And the one that we'll go over to is ink and laser pointer. So we'll change it across and you can use different options. So if we press Control P, this is now a kind of a drawing tool. So you can use that to highlight things. When you press that, you can do Control E, which brings up the eraser tool, which then goes across. And now let's do Control L to bring up the laser. So this is one of my favorites, and this is very easy, so it doesn't mess up your presentation as you go along. Now, after you've done all this wonderful work, you might not just be presenting it, you may want to convert it into a PDF or some handouts to print out. Very simple way to do this. You go across to File and we go to Save As, and now you see the default here, PowerPoint presentation. We'll just click into that, go down to PDF, go to More Options, and here we have a lot of different things that we can do. So you have the PDF type, you have a standard online publishing, you can also convert it so it's a little bit smaller, and you have the options here. Click onto the options, you can see a lot of different options come up. You can choose to have just certain slides printed, so if you want from slide 10 to 24, that's possible. And you can also select what you want to print. Is it all the slides one by one, or do we want to print out handouts? So handouts would have smaller versions of the slides on a single page, either horizontally or vertically. You can choose to have 4 if you want them slightly bigger. You could also choose to have notes pages, so you might want to have hidden files, and you may want to have an outline view. So there are various different options that you could choose here: vertical, non-vertical. Press OK, and it can be printed out in different ways as well. Now, one of the coolest features right here in PowerPoint is the screen recording. So you can record the screen from the beginning, from the current slide. You can even record a portion, so a screen clipping. And you don't have to just record a video, you could also record it as an audio. We're going to look at a feature called Cameo, and what Cameo does is brings up your image directly into the PowerPoint. So if you are recording and then you are going to be sending this across, it's the best feature to use. So you go to Cameo, There you go, guys. Hi, how are you? And now you can enlarge and you can make it smaller. So you can have yourself narrating all the way through the presentation simply like this. And what you can do is then you can use features like morphing, so moving your image and your video from one place to another place, and various different things. So you can even look at different things. You can look at a hexagon, you can come into a circle, you can use border, many different functions that would allow you to use this feature. So let's go across to record, and now let's record from the current slide. So now I'm live on the screen. If you had points coming up over here, you could just be talking about it, and you could use things like your laser printer if you want pointer. So you can just go and look at that, and very cool feature that can be used for when you want to use it for presentations. Now, once you've done all of that hard work, you're going to want to share all of this with your colleagues. So you can do a couple of different things. Now, what we can do is go down to save as a show, and that would directly, when somebody clicks on it, would open up the PowerPoint and would go across the PowerPoint. They can press forward or back, and we'll have a look at how that works. So save as. Once the file has now saved, it will be saved as a Microsoft PowerPoint slideshow. So if you click into that, it might ask you to help enable the external content. Just press OK, and it doesn't allow you to go into the format where you can edit it. It's directly a presentation, and you can just scroll down to that. So that is how you make a PowerPoint into a presentation without having anybody else manipulate it. The last thing that I want to show you is exporting your presentation as a video. So you can come across here and go to record, go to export to video, press OK. You will come up with a screen like this. There we go. So this is the screen that's going to come up as a default, and what you do is you can type in the name of the file here. You can browse where you want it to go, press export video. You can customize the export, so you can have a full HD, you can have ultra HD, and different sizes depending on what you want to use, and you can have time on each slide, so you can also reduce that. So let's go down to 2 so we can see how this works. Don't use recorded timings and narrations, that could also help. So let's do a full HD, and we go to create video. So now it's just going to download it into an MP4 version. Once it exports, we'll see how it looks. So once it's finished, it will have a message, video exported, view and share the video. So you can go onto here and have a look at the video. So that's going to last 2 seconds for each MP4. You can have all of the elements as a video, everything apply in. So there you go. Hope that you've enjoyed these 21 hacks in PowerPoint. Feel free to like and subscribe for more content like this, and please also download the practice file in the description below. For more videos on Excel and other topics that I have on my channel, look at the videos that are coming up in the next feature. See you next time.